Hello and welcome to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. And my name is Carter Kirchhevel, and here on my last live show here at Saddleback College, and I'm joined by Matthew Pearce here in the studio, who got me into all of this. How you doing, Matthew?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Carter.
No problem at all. We're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs and some NFL news. We start off with the NBA playoffs as the playoffs, they're heating up. We're here with the Eastern and Western Conference Finals. So we're going to start off with that talk here in a minute. Before that, Matthew, you were singing a little bit of a song before this studio.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got that banana song stuck in my head.
We got the Minions stuck in our head today. Maybe we'll hear some more of that later. But we're going to take a 1-minute break. We're just listening to Timeless by The Weeknd, and we'll start off with our NBA recap, and we'll go into our predictions about the Western and Eastern Conference Finals. Hello and welcome back to Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2, and we've got Catching Up with Carter here with Carter Kirchhevel, and I'm joined by Matthew Pearce. We're going to start off with the NBA playoffs. Everything's heating up. It's the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, and I want to get, Matthew, your thoughts right away. We've got these finals heating up, and it's going to be OKC and the Timberwolves, and we've got the Knicks and Pacers. Which games are you most excited for? As we've got tomorrow, we've got OKC. Which one are you going to be watching?
This is going to sound a bit ahead of myself, but really I'm mostly just excited to see who ends up going to the finals, because no matter what happens, a star for one of these teams is going to win their first championship, and that's going to be a really exciting moment. But instead of getting ahead of myself, I think the Timberwolves matchup for the Thunder is going to be classic. That's going to be a 6-7 game series, in my opinion, and it's going to be grinded out till the end of the series. And on the other hand, we have the Knicks and Pacers, which we talked about last week, some of the most fun teams to watch in the entirety of the NBA right now. And I mean, how can you not want to see the city of New York get lit up if the Knicks win? You know, we were just talking about this before the show.
We were.
If the Knicks go to the finals and win game one, that city is going nuts.
City has been going nuts. I've seen so many videos of people almost like crowd surfing through the crowds on top of billboards. A lot of people are saying it's going to burn down if they win the finals. I obviously hope not that New York does not burn down, but I am excited for the games between the Knicks and the Pacers. I'm more excited on the Western Conference side, though. My Warriors, they are out, of course, and the Timberwolves knocked us out. If Curry was there, you never know what can happen. There's always those if statements. But the Timberwolves, they've been playing amazing. And it's Anthony Edwards versus Shea. And I want to know your take as well. I think Anthony Edwards is going to come out on top in this series over Shea, because I think OKC, they are chokers.
I mean, yeah, that's certainly a statement. There's one thing that I don't necessarily love about Anthony Edwards, and it's although he continues to stick to shooting, he's not the best at it per se when it comes to behind the three-point line. So if he gets hot from behind the line, I mean, there's a great chance the Timberwolves end up, winning that game that he gets hot. And on the other hand, Shea's a little more consistent around there, but also, not the greatest. I see you're trying to say something.
I'm going to disagree with you, though, on Anthony Edwards for threes, because this guy scored the most threes this year. So in the NBA, yes, he did. And
he shoots. I gotta look this up.
Gotta look it up. But he did. He scored the most threes in the NBA. And Anthony Edwards, he's a good shooter. I know that he drives towards the rim a lot, but it's almost, in my opinion, you're looking at the two teams. It's Shea, it's Anthony Edwards. It's one guy who goes for fouls and one guy who doesn't. You've got Shea, who's going for a foul on every play, and Anthony Edwards, who doesn't. He just goes to the rim and just knocks it in every time.
See, the whole foul argument, it's so drawn out. I mean, we've seen some of the greatest players of all time, Kobe Bryant, Michael, all these guys, they get their way to the free throw line. It's because they're called free throws. They're free points, uncontested shots. It's dumb to not try and get there as much as you can. So, Shea, all he does is he's a free throw merchant. That's known. That's pretty true. But he's efficient is part of the thing, and that's why you can't really hate on it too much, because he's very efficient. And Anthony Edwards doesn't necessarily do it as much as him, but Anthony Edwards has his own magic ways on the court. He's such a great player.
Anthony Edwards, yes, he is magical. Shea, Okay, for me, I get it. There's the whole foul merchant argument. I am on that side that I think he's a foul merchant. The Minnesota Timberwolves fans definitely think so. They chanted during their matchups earlier in the season, foul merchant. We'll see if they do that again. The series during the regular season was tied 2-2 in some tight contested games.
It's a good matchup.
So I agree with you, 6 to 7 games. I think it could be a 7-game series
I think
again.
It could. Yep, 100%. I think it could be another long 7-game series for the Thunder to go to before potentially the NBA Finals. And I pulled up these regular season totals for Anthony Edwards, and yes, he made the most threes this year. He had 320, but he shot 811. That is true. That's near 300. That's a little shy of 300 more than every other season he's played in the NBA. So, like I said, he sticks to it, and he was on better efficiency. He was shooting 39.5%, which is better than his average of 36.4. So he's been better in terms of shooting this year, but he hucks up a lot of shots. And we talked about it with the Celtics. When they're shooting 25% potentially, it's not really, the best position to be in.
He was lacing them against the Golden State Warriors, though, so we'll see if he keeps that momentum going against OKC. OKC guard Shea, as we've been talking about over and over again, he put a stamp on his MVP battle with Denver star center Nikola Jokic. He dropped a game-high 35 points on 12 of 19 shooting to lead the way. After being held to 6 points in Game 6, Thunder forward Jalen Williams also bounced back with 24 points on 10 of 17 shooting. Jokic, he did lead the Nuggets with 20 points. But is this it for the MVP debate? Did Shea finally cement himself he's going to be MVP, or do you think the voters are still going to look, okay, Denver, if they don't have Jokic, they're not there. If Shea's not there, the OKC Thunder are still going to be up there. What do you think about this debate still?
It's really hard, and it's all how you interpret the word MVP and most valuable player. Because obviously there's the financial way to look at it, which I don't know what Jokic's contract is, but I'm sure it's more than the $35 million that the Thunder are paying Shea. So in that sense, Shea, you're getting more bang for your buck, which if we're going in, there's just many ways to interpret it. And the other thing is these are two guys that play completely different positions. So it's really hard to say. I mean, Jokic is just, as much as I want to say, yes, Shea did cement the argument of he's the MVP, but it's hard to say that when Jokic is just still one of the, it's almost like it was Thunder versus Jokic and two of his buddies for part of the series. Like whichever buddies he wanted to bring to the table on that night, yeah, that's it. But Jokic really does so much for that Thunder or that Nuggets team that it's really difficult to say that Shea necessarily impacts the Thunder as much as he impacts the Nuggets.
It's hard to say. Nikola Jokic, he definitely impacts the Nuggets a ton, and it's hard to say as well if he'll be staying a Denver Nugget during this offseason. What do the Nuggets need to do this offseason to get back on track? For me, I think they need to go into free agency, look outside the box, maybe go and get some role players because their depth is not there. They need to keep Russell Westbrook for another season. He played a great year for the Nuggets. If they can keep those role players there, maybe pick up some star talent if it becomes available. I don't think Giannis is in contention for the Nuggets, definitely not, but someone else, maybe someone from the Rockets that maybe gets dropped if there is a Giannis trade over there, go pick up somebody. That is what the Nuggets need to do if they want to have a chance for this coming season. And it was a little scary because Jokic, he even didn't want Aaron Gordon to play in this last game in Game 7 because there was a strain in his hamstring, and Jokic, he advised teammate Aaron Gordon not to play in Game 7 due to Gordon's hamstring injury. Jokic expressed concern that playing could worsen the injury, noting Gordon's visible struggle with mobility. Despite this, Gordon, he still played. 8 points, 11 rebounds. He also said, quote, "I couldn't sprint." He couldn't even run during this matchup. Should players risk it during these playoffs to try to get a win if they're injured like this?
Well, there's two questions that come out of that, and it's A, is me playing going to hurt or help the team? And B, is this a Game 7?
It is a Game 7.
And so when you look at it, yes, it's a Game 7. And even though Jokic maybe didn't think so, Aaron Gordon thought him playing was going to help the team. So when it comes down to it, if those two things are checked off the list, like it's the same, like NFL playoffs, you're injured, you got a little ankle sprain and you're in the postseason, like you're going to play in that game. So it all comes down to circumstance, and I think when you say the words, I couldn't sprint, you're probably a little in over your head in terms of helping the team. But, it turned out how it turned out, and maybe Coach Jokic was right this time.
If it had worsened, if he would have tore something or was on the floor afterwards, like a torn Achilles would have happened, something with the hamstring, it could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, nothing happened to Aaron Gordon, and he's still moving okay. He'll be able to get some rehab done during the offseason. If he's back, the Nuggets will always have a chance. He was a sharpshooter during the playoffs this year, and they definitely needed that. Their shooting from the outside wasn't great. A lot of people have been saying Michael Porter Jr. is going to be traded this offseason.
I was going to say them. That, yeah.
So that has been in talks. I don't know. Do you know any places of where they're thinking about trading Porter?
No, I haven't really heard like any actual rumors or anything, but I was like, based off of what I saw in this postseason, I wouldn't be surprised if him he got put in a package deal with, a couple other depth players and shipped off somewhere. So it all really depends on what they're able to get in return and what team they end up talking to. And it's hard to say in this market, especially with volatile pieces like Giannis around, because teams are going to be shopping around. Like there's no way you hear Giannis Antetokounmpo is available for trade and you're not trying to get in on some sort of deal in that regard, because we see a lot of multi-team trades in the NBA. So it wouldn't surprise me if Porter Jr. was somehow packaged in some sort of three-way trade around that. There's so many opportunities.
So many opportunities. Now with those three-way trades, we'll see if Michael Porter Jr. is a part of it. It would be interesting to see if Jokic jumps somewhere else, because there's been talks of him leaving Denver and maybe Giannis jumping into the Denver system. Would be crazy. Switch-ups all over the place. Most likely won't happen.
People like to talk about stars moving all the time once a team doesn't, win a championship. So it's fun to talk about. And, off-season rumors are one of the best parts about sports. You get the anticipation going into next season. It's so fun. But honestly, Jokic going somewhere is probably less likely than Giannis going somewhere. And I already don't really think Giannis ends up going anywhere. So we'll see what happens. But I did just hear recently Jokic talking about, he got asked in a press conference, do you think you can win with this core of players? And he was like, well, we didn't, so we can't. So I think Jokic and Giannis's attitude towards their cities has been very interesting this postseason.
Jokic has been funny because always those post-conference type of interviews for him always been a little hilarious to me, because it seems like, of course, he's always talked about it as a job. Like the NBA is a job to me. I'm just here for a job, right? And it's like he's just going to go back home and have horses now, just do his little horse races during the off season. So it's quicker to get to the horses. Remember, he didn't even want to go to his own parade when he won the championship.
Yeah, he was in the press conference right after his loss to the Thunder in Game 7 and was already talking about how he's going home for his horses and to get some beer. So he's got things in mind already. And honestly, that probably could be a reason that, maybe the Nuggets aren't competing as hard as they could, because Jokic's attitude is the way it is.
Jokic, I feel like, though, he does clock in when he needs to.
He does. He does. But there is certainly, like, you would never see Kobe saying anything near that.
He's the exact opposite of Kobe.
Exact opposite.
My roommates and I talked about it. It's, Kobe and Jokic would never have got along because they have the exact opposite mindset.
Complete different. But they still make it work.
They do make it work. Let's jump over to the New York Knicks, because we said if New York wins a game, even in these Eastern Conference Finals, the city might burn down. We don't know what's going to happen. But New York Knicks, they dominated the Boston Celtics 119-81 in Game 6, and they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time since 2000. It's a crazy stat to say, so they're finally back there. And the series 4-2, of course, Jason Tatum being injured. We broke the news actually here live on air last week. He was off on a wheelchair. It was a torn Achilles, correctly? I'm pretty sure that's the correct injury, right?
So.
Yeah, so a torn Achilles for him. Do the Knicks have what it takes to get past a rested Halliburton and Pacers team? I think so. I think if the Knicks can keep this momentum going, they have all the fans behind them. All the New York fans are there. I think if they're playing in New York, they're winning a game at least. They're winning at least the games in New York.
Yeah, I think the New York environment's going to be crazy for this series. And I think the question isn't necessarily the way you framed it. I think it's more of can the Indiana Pacers beat a healthy Knicks team?
That is truthful.
we mentioned, the Pacers have gone against some injured teams, and they've had a little leeway, slightly. But at that, we're going into a Knicks roster that they got everyone ready. Jalen Brunson's ready to play. Mikal Bridges is ready to play. Everyone's ready, and they're hot just coming off the last couple of series. So I think it's going to be tough for the Pacers.
I do think it'll be tough for the Pacers. Of course, injuries have helped them on both of their series coming up here. Of course, in that series against the Cavs, tons of injuries that helped out for Indiana to go all the way. And now Halliburton, of course, there's been those overrated talks during this season. Do you think that Halliburton's overrated? I think now he's kind of proven himself. I think Indiana, Halliburton, I don't think he's overrated anymore.
Well,
I think he's normal.
If we're rating people based off of everything, and that includes clutch factor, how could you call Halliburton overrated when he sealed multiple games in the postseason for the Pacers? I think the league, I've said this last week, they gave him such good chalkboard material, and he's just been running through the postseason with ease. I mean, he makes some of these layups and some of these the last 60-second shots. He makes them look easy, and it's really impressive because you can tell that he is prepared for those moments. I mean, they'll show his stat line going into the last 60 seconds. They'll be like 10 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, and then he'll have like 17 points at the end of the game because he just scored the game-winning 7 points for the Pacers. So it's really hard to call him overrated when that's what's happening, and I think you really do have to respect him coming into this matchup.
It'll be an exciting matchup, of course, Knicks and Pacers. Let's go into our conference finals predictions. Of course, we have the Knicks and we've got the Pacers. The regular season series, the Knicks won 2-1 against the Pacers. I believe the Knicks have this in 6. I think they move on and they beat the Pacers to go to the finals and have a chance to win for the first time since 1973.
Crazy. We talked a little bit about this, and I really do like the Knicks Timberwolves matchup. However, seeing the Pacers win in 7 and watching Halliburton get his poetic justice on the NBA, and literally right after they call him overrated, would be just so cool to see. And if it goes to Game 7, I'm sure it'd be a crazy Game 7. Like, I want to say the Pacers, but the Knicks are also just really fun. So I'll take the Knicks too, and I'll take it in Game 7.
Game 7. If Halliburton does win, I heard you say poetic justice, a little bit of Kendrick Lamar type beat there for him. Now going over to the Western Conference, OKC and the Timberwolves. I'm rooting for the Timberwolves in this series, but I'm going to say it. If I'm going to be honest, it's going to be Thunder in 7 for me.
Yeah, I mean, like we said in the regular season, tied 2-2, it's a really tough matchup for the Thunder specifically. I mean, the Timberwolves, obviously the Thunder's a hard matchup for the Timberwolves, but more on the other end, Anthony Edwards is going to be a problem for the Thunder, and same with Rudy Gobert down low. I mean, Chet is great, and so is Hartenstein, but Hartenstein isn't necessarily as tactical as Chet, and Chet's Chet. He probably weighs the same as me, and he's got a whole foot. So it's going to be really interesting to see the battle in the paint, and then how Anthony Edwards matches up against Shea, Alex Caruso, and these other defensive players that the Thunder have. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say Thunder in 7. I think we're going to see both games go. I think these are two really good matchups for the Eastern and the Western side.
Now that we say that, someone's going to get gentleman sweeped in 5, but
yeah,
that's how it goes with our predictions, right?
Yep.
I would say the most exciting matchup, I want to see Timberwolves and Knicks, that trade that happened at the beginning of the season where it was Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, who jumped over to the Timberwolves, and Karl Anthony Towns jumping over to the Knicks. That would be the most exciting. That's what I want to see. But we're going to say the prediction, OKC, and it will be the Knicks moving on to the finals. In that finals matchup, who do we think's going to win? I'm going to say Knicks in 6. I think they're just going to go all the way, take all the momentum that they have, and the Knicks are going to win for the first time since 1973. You're welcome, Stephen A.
That would be really something. I'm trying to look up their regular season record from this year.
I don't remember. I actually did not look that one up before this show started. The Knicks and the Thunder, of course, have so much potential.
Oh, it's so tough to say because the Thunder team is so good and on paper, they have the pieces to do it. But when it comes down into the nitty-gritty last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter, have they played enough close games to be in enough situations to know when to make certain plays? It's hard to say. And so I think the Knicks could take an edge in the experience regard in terms of close games, but the Thunder team on paper is just so good. And I think this might, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the Knicks are 0-2 against the Thunder this season. So not great going into the postseason, but
it's not a great matchup for them. I believe. You know what? I just believe in New York. I think the momentum that they have will bring them all the way. So Knicks are going to be my finals champion prediction here on the last show because I won't be able to kind of go over that after the finals are happening, of course. So I think the Knicks are going to take it and go all the way. Timberwolves, I'm still rooting for you, my entire family. I'm actually wearing a Minnesota Vikings jersey right now. It's Chris Carter, my whole family from Minnesota. So we're going to be rooting for the Timberwolves, of course, against the Thunder. Let's move on to Giannis. The trade rumors have been going around everywhere, and Giannis made a tweet. He was asked by a fan, what's your favorite city to play in on the road? And it was a simple response, 2 words, New York.
Yeah, you mentioned this when I first showed up, and I think this is really interesting because this either means he loves New York and would want to play there, or it means absolutely nothing. And it just means, when they travel, he likes going to New York because who doesn't like going to New York?
It's pretty much an 80-20 in the sense that it's 20% he wants to play there and 80% it's just I like playing in New York.
I just like New York.
Yeah. So, of course, Antetokounmpo, who averaged 30.4 points this year, 11.9 rebounds, 6.5 assists per game this season. He has 3 years left on his contract, worth over $60 million, and everyone still wants to trade for him. Of course, a NBA champion. Who is going to get this star if he does want to go to New York? Is it going to be the Nets or the Knicks? I'm saying the Nets. The Nets have all of the money in the world if they want to. The Nets don't really have a future, though, that Giannis would want to go to. That's the problem. So the Knicks could package Karl-Anthony Towns after this year. If they don't win the championship or they don't move on after this, they might look into that. Do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think the Nets are kind of an obvious team that will definitely be in talks for Giannis. But if you're Giannis, why would you go move to a team that needs to completely build around you when the Bucks have already been doing that? So that would seem a little redundant to me, especially this late into his career. And then on the other hand, the Knicks, I'm not going to say them specifically will do this, but there will 100% be a team this offseason that didn't go as far as fans wanted them to or they were necessarily supposed to from rankings and, social media standards that ends up shipping a lot to Giannis. Like, that would not surprise me if a team that even one of these 4 last teams or even some of the last 8 teams, if one of the, it's totally possible that you just see a boat trade get sent over to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Mine dark horse team is going to be the Houston Rockets, who can just totally send as much talent as possible. They got knocked out immediately by the Golden State Warriors, kind of the same as the Kings did in the last series last year. So the same story, but they just don't have that star there yet. So they can bring Giannis in, trade away Şengün, trade away, I'm going to say Amen Thompson. I don't think they will, but maybe they will. It'll be crazy to see where Giannis goes this offseason.
It's going to be a fun one.
We are going to take a break, and we're going to come back with our NFL news. The music today is curated by Giovanni Daniels. He's been on my show a ton, has helped me out this semester here at Saddleback. It's going to be Only If by Steve Lacy. We'll be back after this break. Hello and welcome back to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2. We were just listening to Only If by Steve Lacy, and the music today is curated by Giovanni Daniels. He's sadly not in the studio here today, but Matthew Pearce is here to talk about all the sports news around the world. We just got done talking about the NBA, the Western and Eastern Conference Finals, and we are going to go into some NFL news now. We're going to start off with the 49ers, and Brock Purdy Purdy, finally, he got his money and he got his extension. They signed him to a 5-year, $265 million contract extension, including $181 million guaranteed. The deal features a full no-trade clause, granting Purdy significant control over his future. This is a provision typically reserved for elite quarterbacks like Mahomes and Josh Allen. The extension makes Purdy the highest paid player in 49ers history, averaging $53 million annually. So I want to know right away, the Rams fan over here, Matthew Pearce, your thought on this contract.
Oh, I love it.
Do you love it because it's too long?
I love it because it's
money?
$53 million annually on the Niners paycheck when they already have Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. I can keep going. But it's really hard because, in my opinion, this is the money Purdy deserves. For the way that the Niners have used him in the past and for what he's done for the organization so far, he deserves to get paid more than most rookie quarterbacks.
NFC Championship, made it to a Super Bowl as a basically second year because his first year was done because he got injured. We don't even know that year. He could have maybe also gone to the Super Bowl too. So he's been a great quarterback. Last year was a letdown, 6-11 on the season. It was a sad one to watch. I basically gave up after like week 10 for myself.
There's a lot of context there, though. And there's a lot of context surrounding that season as a whole for them. So it's kind of a dud year if you ask me. I mean, do I love Purdy as a quarterback? No, I'm going to be honest. I don't. But
is it because he's good, though, right? Because you have to play him twice a year.
No, I don't think that's why, Carter. I'm going to be honest. He's fine. He's very much good in the Niners system.
Don't say he's a system quarterback.
I'm not saying he's a system quarterback, but he's not a talent like Josh Allen, where I think he would be able to go to a Super Bowl in another team.
I think he could. I'm on that side. Brock Purdy makes plays. He does.
I don't disagree. There's times he shows up massive, but I just there's too much shakiness in there, and we've seen what happens when some of the players that really hold up that offense go down for significant periods of time, and how he's played around it. And yeah, 6 wins isn't bad for the NFL. But that's That's not.
It is pretty bad. Okay, for the Niners, that's pretty bad.
For the Niners, that's under par. That is not what they are hoping to see, and that is very much a disappointment for them. So, I don't. Like, I like Purdy more than Geno Smith.
That's true. Hey, Geno, he's a Raider now. So, Brock Purdy, I love him. I'm a 49er fan, so I'm biased over here. Of course, I'm wearing a Vikings jersey in the studio today, but it's got Carter on the back. Got to wear my Carter jersey every once in a while. 49ers also just signed a star linebacker, Fred Warner, to a 3-year, $63 million contract extension, $56 million in guaranteed money. It's like they're just pulling money out of everywhere. I mean, it's just there somehow. Previous deal was set to expire at the end of 2026. He's the highest paid linebacker now. It's wild. The money is coming from pretty much nowhere. We don't have a lot of money left, and this is why I think this is pretty much the next 2 years, this is it. Like, we don't have much room left for a Super Bowl run. What do you think, Matthew?
No, there's not a whole lot there, not a whole lot of meat left on that bone, and I do want to say one thing about all of these contracts is, yes, they seem heavy, but we did just add, what is this, $28 million to the salary cap for this year from last year.
Ooh, okay.
So that's near. I think it's a little over 10% increase year over year, which is kind of crazy.
Help the Niners out.
It does. It's a tiny bit. It does. But we have also in the past seen the salary get cut. Right back in 2020, 2021, going into 2021, you lost $16 million in your salary cap.
Yep.
So it does go up and down, and it does fluctuate. But it's been on a run up, and there's very much a chance it hits $300 million by 2029, if I had to guess. If they want to slow down, it would take a couple more years, but they could hit that in the next 2 years. So all of these are heavy, and it has to do with the market being broken to an extent. Like, yeah,
Dak Prescott broke it immediately when he got his contract. Isn't it $60
Jerry
million
Jones
per year?
broke the
yes,
market.
He did.
So yes, Purdy signed this deal, and now you've probably seen those graphics where he's like in the top 10 of most. Yeah, but some of these other contracts were written out years prior. So there's a lot of context that goes into the contracts too. And yeah, I mean, based off of previous contracts of previous quarterbacks, this is going to look like an overpay for Brock Purdy. And in terms of linebackers, I mean, the highest paid linebacker of what we said all time, is it?
I believe it's all time.
I can fact check this real quick, but
Fred Warner deserves that though.
He does. I mean, he's been there for the team for forever. Talk about a loyal player. Okay,
been the best linebacker in football.
Yeah, debatably, yeah. Like I can't argue against that. So it's not overkill. It's not an overpay, but the market is definitely in a weird spot in the NFL. And there's a lot of salary cap inflation going on, which is going to be interesting to see how the NFL manages it over the next couple of years.
Salary cap inflation has been in every sport right now. We saw it in baseball with Shohei Ohtani's contract. We saw it with Juan Soto's contract. We're now seeing it in the NFL. The first one was Dak, we talked about. Brock Purdy now being paid so much money. I still think it's worth to finally get him on the books, though, because we almost were going to lose him. Or, not be able to even keep him on the team. So thankfully he's there. And now the chances for the Niners are looking up with our opponent's schedule, other than the divisional opponents. Let me just go through the home schedule. We're playing against the Falcons, the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Titans, and the Bears. And away, we're going to be playing the Saints, the Buccaneers, the Texans, the Colts, the Giants, and the Browns. Those teams, there's a 7-game stretch that we have where we're not playing a single playoff team from last year.
Yeah.
It looks on the up for the Niners. Are they going to go back to the NFC Championship again with this type of, schedule, maybe giving them the first seed or second seed easily just because of how easy it is?
I mean, there's totally a chance, but one of the things that comes down in the end of the season is how your team's ready for the postseason. So there's always that question. I do want to say real quick, Fred Warner is the highest paid linebacker
Officially?
of all time as of this 3-year contract. Yeah, so he deserves it. Good for him and good for Brock Purdy on getting paid. I mean, when you're a rookie doing what Brock Purdy's done for that organization, you deserve your money. In terms of the schedule, yes, they have a lot of easy games, and they could end up further ahead in terms of record than some other teams, and it's going to put a lot of pressure on the NFC West specifically to keep up. But like I just said, it's hard to say they're going to go to the NFC Championship when you are kind of like record inflated.
They are inflated in the sense of that record.
Your wins are a little inflated when you play against the Panthers, the Titans, the Bears,
the Browns,
the Giants, and some of these teams aren't going to be bad. Like, honestly, I'm a big fan of the Panthers going into next year, and I think I've said this to you before. They're a huge sleeper pick of mine. So some of these games could come out and end up being really tough, but also there's other games like, the Cardinals could come out and not look great. The Seahawks could not look great. The Saints are going to be a dumpster fire. The Jags could be overrated. The Bucks could, there's plenty of teams on the schedule where if even on those coin flips, you have another coin flip to kind of
even it out.
And even it out. Yeah, so I think the Niners' schedule is blessed this year for them, and I'm interested to see how the NFC West finishes up again come, week 16, 17, 18.
It'll be fun. I'm hoping that I'm out over in Santa Clara watching one of those later games in the season. It would be exciting. The Niners, they're on the come up. I'm hoping, of course, as a Niners fan, I'm going to be hoping for them to do well this season. Really, the hardest team from last year would be probably the Buccaneers and the Rams, probably those two. Really, everybody else got worse, in my opinion. Obviously, the Panthers, they're on the come up. We'll see how that goes. Let's jump over to the best team in the NFL from last year, the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's jump over to the tush push. The tush push rule change proposed by the Green Bay Packers will reportedly be a topic of discussion at the upcoming meeting. Is it tomorrow officially?
I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow.
Between NFL owners in Minneapolis. According to Mark Mask of the Washington Post, Green Bay's proposal to ban the specific type of quarterback sneak is expected to be modified on site in order to prevent pushing or pulling a teammate with the ball. I think they should keep this instated. I talked about this, I believe it was 2 to 3 months ago here on this show. It was with Giovanni Daniels and Ray Golsla. We talked about it's a 1-yard play. I mean, you're not going to ban this. I get that they use it over and over again, and it could have injuries. They looked at the stats. The injuries aren't super high. Why are they looking to ban this?
Well, the NFL's had problems in terms of in order to prevent pushing or pulling a teammate with the ball. They've gone through rule changes with that in the past. And I'm pretty sure the tush push only came into fruition in the last handful of years once they switched the rule back that you could pull and push people with the ball. So it's kind of just picky and choosy of teams that are kind of jealous to an extent. And yes, it does look more like a rugby play than a football play, but like you said, it's a 1-yard play. And it's no different than a quarterback sneak.
Tom Brady was legendary with the quarterback sneak, and he got 2-3 yards every time.
I don't think there's a way you can ethically ban this play specifically, especially after the team wins the Super Bowl. Like, yeah, owners are going to look at this opportunity to be able to ban a play like this and be like, oh, well, I'm the Tennessee Titans. Cam Moore can't do that. Right? Why would I let them do it? But if you look at it like that, you open yourself up to a lot of ethical and moral issues, in my opinion. And while that's not necessarily what these people are thinking of, it does resonate with fans of the sport. So in terms of it actually getting banned, I don't think it'll actually happen. The last time this got voted on, I'm pretty sure...
I think it was only 8 teams or something agreed to it.
Yeah, there was like 8 or 9 teams that agreed to ban it.
24.
Yeah, they need a good majority, so... I don't think it's going anywhere, and I think the Eagles are going to be nice and happy come the time next season when they're allowed to use this play still.
Even as a Niner fan, I don't think it should be banned. It's a 1-yard play. It's not that big of a deal to me. If even the Patriots, they were trying it, didn't work very well on their end. It's like just go out and sign a guy who can squat 600 pounds. You know, you've got to look for that. You got to get Jason Kelce, a legendary center. They don't even need it. You know, Jason Kelce wasn't there, and they still were able to run the play just because their offensive line is so strong. If you go hire out these guys that are that good, you can run that play well. So I don't think it'll get banned on that side.
And we saw how the Eagles influenced the draft this year. I mean, so much offensive line, so much defensive line getting taken in the first round, so much high capital draft picks getting spent from teams on their offensive line. And yeah, like they had the Kelce at center before, but like they proved they don't really need him. So yeah, I hope it doesn't get banned just because I think that's a little lame. And like they perfected it. It'd be like nerfing one team specifically. Like, that's pretty stupid.
It's just one team doing it that's successfully doing it.
Yeah, some of the teams in the half the teams in the NFL don't even play that team every year, let alone every 2 years, let alone every 3 years. So it'd be pretty stupid, but it does. Stuff like this happens when you make it to the top.
There was even memes going on. They're like, oh, let's just ban the Hail Mary or the pass up to like your deep ball man, right? Like, let's just ban that play.
Well, let's just ban the screen. Why should the guy be able to get the ball behind the line of scrimmage? Why should he be able to run over the line of scrimmage with the football? We should ban running.
Yeah,
it's all going downhill now. Yeah, it's all going downhill now.
Yeah, this won't get banned. I don't think everyone's going to agree on it. Let's jump over to some more offense for our last topic of the day. CeeDee and George Pickens, they're going to be working together. I put a question mark there because it was a statement from CeeDee Lamb. He said, we're both number ones. It ain't no 1A, 1B situation. None of that. It's number one. You look over there. You see number one. You look over there. You see another number one. It doesn't matter. You can look right. You can look left. There's a number one on each side. Do you think this is the best wide receiver duo in the NFL? No. Why not? This is
Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua play together.
Okay, but that is not. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, no, we haven't seen that.
The other one either.
We haven't seen this one yet either. But I will say the Cowboys wide receiver core is super sneaky. What's this guy's name? Where's it?
Devontae Turpin. Is that who you're thinking of?
Turpin. He is fast.
Fast player.
This mindset that we hear. They have Jonathan Mingo too. I'm pretty sure they just signed him this off. Or no, they traded for him, I think, at the end of last season. Regardless, this is a common mindset you kind of see from like top wide receivers. Is they kind of like they say they eliminate the whole 1A 1B thing, and I think that's really just for like teammate likeness and like chemistry. But if CeeDee Lamb's hot, why are you going to give the ball to George Pickens? Like, then that's kind of sarcastic in a sense. But, you know, if one of them gets the hot hand, it's going to be hard to see yourself trusting someone who might be cold. So I think the 1A, 1B thing kind of fluctuates throughout the season in terms of, Jalen Tolbert. It kind of fluctuates throughout the season for wide receivers and running backs and some running back by committee backfields. But this is pretty common from my knowledge. Like, this doesn't surprise me. They're saying that there's no 1A, 1B. It's all just, we're all just one. So
keeps them safe from the media as well.
100%.
So there's no controversy on, who's going to be the number one receiver. 100%. Both of them are great. I'm excited to see them both play together. The Cowboys, they're getting Dak Prescott back. Is this another chance for the Cowboys to have a chance in the regular season, I say, because they just can't play in the playoffs? Do they have a chance to win the NFC East? Over and over again, the NFC East goes to a different team. I believe this year it's going to be the Washington Commanders who win the NFC East, but that's going to be a tight one. It's going to be the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are back to full strength. So who's your top?
It's going to be between the Eagles and Commanders, and I think the Commanders are going to have a hard time taking out the Eagles, so I wouldn't be surprised if standing stayed how they finished this year. But this Cowboys team, I hate talking to the Cowboys preseason. Is just so dumb. Like, it's our year. But what I will say is George Pickens is going to be a very, very interesting acquisition for them. And he is such a talented player that he's going to open up the field a lot for CeeDee Lamb. So if he plays how he has played in the past and he plays up to the talent level that he is and he makes as big of a mark on the field as he can, this Cowboys team could be very interesting.
Cowboys will be interesting to see. I think it'll be a good regular season and then a tank in the playoffs again, just like they do every single season. My name is Carter Kirchhevel here on Catching Up with Carter, joined by Matthew Pearce. It has been a fun few semesters here at Saddleback College, and this is the final episode here on Saddleback College Radio. I wanted to thank a few people. Melody Terori, the professor here at Saddleback College. She's over in the other studio waving over to us. Want to thank her. Thank to all the CTVR staff, and I want to thank all the guests who came on to the show this spring semester. Matthew Pearce, do you have some final words for the listeners here?
Thanks, Melody. Obviously, thanks for everything. She's been great to me and Carter in the past, so I really appreciate everything she's done for this program and the way it's grown. Thank you, Carter, for having me on. I just love doing it. So having the chances has been awesome. And then this might be the last time I on the Saddleback Radio too, unless I come back for some reason. So thank you, Saddleback Radio listeners, for listening to my voice over the last couple of years, even though I took a little break while I was at Arizona State.
We're very happy that he's back here. Thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, my name is Carter Kirchhevel, and thank you so much for listening to Catching Up with Carter here on Saddleback College Radio, 88.5 HD2.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.